Welcome to Marriage Unmasked. Today we are talking about the topic of you're the only one holding your marriage together. And that thought, that can be a really painful thought. And if that is the way that you're feeling and you're showing up, it is just absolutely exhausting. And there's probably a lot of pain underneath. And so we want to dive into the pain that is there, help you understand it, help you to start to work through it, heal it, and offer you solutions. So I know for me, I have definitely felt this. And I think when we're working with couples, a lot of times this is what the wife is feeling. She's feeling, I'm the only one trying. I'm the one who's holding this together. I'm handling the kids. I'm working on our marriage. I'm seeing where we're not getting along, or we need to talk about something. She's the one leading those conversations, and you're in this survival mode, honestly. And we want to help you get out of that, because that survival mode is really unhealthy for your marriage, but it's also really unhealthy for you physically, emotionally, and spiritually as well.
Absolutely. And yeah, we do see this a lot. I mean, there are men who are not really stepping into the role that God provided for them, and not really stepping up as the man in the household and taking on the leadership responsibility and abdicating, or like stepping out of that role and going into other areas where they feel more comfortable, or more of a comfort zone for them. Maybe they stay at work and they do the work thing fine, but then they come home and check out. Check out of the marriage, check out of the relationship, not intentionally doing the work needed to step into all that God made them to be in the home and in their marriage. And a lot of times that comes from some unhealed wounds in the man that need to be dealt with. I know that was the case for me. And something that I needed to work through was, why am I showing up that way? Why am I checking out? And to really dig into that. So there's some things we can talk about too, as far as men, being able to step back into that role and unburden their wife so that she's not feeling this way. Because I don't think any good husband doesn't want his wife to feel so entirely burdened and stressed and overwhelmed in the marriage relationship that she feels like she has to carry everything. We don't want that. It is a call for men to really step up.
Yeah, and I think understanding the masculine feminine dynamic in a relationship is also really key, because I know for us, we really felt this pretty quickly in our marriage. Like, I remember in our first year of marriage having this conversation with Adam. We were just on a walk, and I remember bringing this up and being really frustrated already. It happened pretty quickly that I was like already overwhelmed. This does not seem like this is the way God designed our marriage. Why does it seem like, if I don't do it, nobody will, right? If I'm the one who's, kind of carrying us along, I'm making the decisions. When there are conflicts, I'm the one trying to resolve them. The thought in my head was like, he just doesn't think about these things, and I was starting to get frustrated with that. And so we had this conversation, and I just kind of remember you just were kind of agreeing, but not really saying anything.
And this is something I struggled with for many years, was this victim mentality. And I think that if a man is in more of a victim mentality, a victim energy, which you did a whole podcast on that, if he's in that victim energy, then he tends to check out, and he tends to see the circumstances as controlling his life and not being proactive about, here's what I need to step into, here's what I need to do, and not even necessarily looking and noticing the things that need to change, not even looking for those things. I just have to do whatever I have to do today to get through the day. Like, it's almost like a survival mode.
Well, when we're talking about victim mentality in this specific instance, I'm wondering if it sounds more like, well, this is the way she is. Like, this is the way it is.
Yeah, some of it is.
I don't know what to do. Or, yep, look at her again. Look at what she's doing. Like,
it is victim towards the wife. Yeah, definitely.
Right. When we were in that position, when we were having that conversation, we didn't understand the masculine feminine dynamic. I remember saying specifically, like, well, I know your role as the husband is that you're supposed to be leading. And so I was saying that to him, and he wasn't really responding. And I think that there's a lot of reasons.
There's a lot of dynamic on both sides why that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of it was, from your own childhood and what your example of a man.
It was pretty passive, the leadership that I saw. And The dynamic between my parents was very different than the dynamic between Cara and I. So, whereas my father could maybe lead in a certain way and it would work in that family dynamic, me leading in a passive or a checked out way was not going to work in our marriage dynamic. And so it was definitely a learning curve for me. I really had to learn, actually intentionally put in that work and that effort. And a lot of inner healing too, because it just you have to be aware of the things that need to change. You have to it really has to hit your heart, and you have to really understand it at a deep level so that you can start to heal it and start to invite God into that stuff as well. Because I mean, I was operating on a performance based thing, and shame and victim mindedness and all that stuff. It plays into this dynamic.
Yeah, there's so much underneath the surface. And to tell you just lead or, just let him lead, that's just scratching the surface. That's like a band-aid, right? It's not effective. All this stuff underneath the surface that's unhealed.
Yeah, and what a man will often hear if you just say, well, you got to lead. Like if he's in this place like I was, you'll just hear, you're not good enough. And it can have him check out even more. Like, okay, well, I'm just not enough for you. I mean, that's unhealthy, but it can happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the masculine feminine dynamic too, like it is so important for both spouses to take ownership too. And I had wounds that I didn't understand, that I didn't know were affecting the masculine and feminine dynamic either. But I had massive wounds that needed healing, and then I started to get more wounds from our marriage because, like I said, this just kept going because we didn't know what to do, we didn't understand it,
Right.
and so it got more and more and more painful. This story in my head of like, I'm holding the marriage together just got more and more painful as it just kept going for years and years.
Up, and it would snowball for me too. Like, well, I'm not good enough, and I'm really not good enough. I'll never be. It just is. It's sneaky how the enemy lies to you and really like has you stuck in these patterns.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really it's deeper than disappointment, right? A feeling disappointment that I couldn't, just relax in my femininity, that he wasn't taking that masculine role. But it really is grief. And if you're not grieving it, it turns into resentment. And that's a really painful place to be, and it comes out in a really painful place for your spouse when you're holding on to resentment. And I definitely had plenty of that. And so, when we as women are carrying this weight, it's from this place of masculine energy. And I think it's important to understand, what is that? What does that really look like? It's like this posture of doing, of leading, of protecting, and really trying to protect yourself in this case. When a woman is living in more of her masculine energy, it's, you're feeling unsafe. And so you are trying to protect yourself. Your nervous system is like, okay, we need to, we got to protect. This is an unsafe area. And I felt that when trust was broken in our marriage, or when I didn't see Adam protecting in that way. We had some very painful things with the in-laws.
Episodes.
Right. And so that was another area I felt I had to protect myself. And then I came in with these wounds too, of feeling very unsafe with men. And so I came in already kind of in this protective mode.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that. And so I was in my masculine energy a lot. It's also fixing. And so I'm trying to fix him. I'm trying to fix our marriage. I'm trying to fix myself. And it's heavy. It's heavy. And you're not meant to carry this masculine energy 24/7. It's not just like men are only masculine energy, women are only feminine energy. We believe that we're all unique. But when you're living in this masculine energy as a woman 24/7, it is so draining.
And it's unnatural. It's really not how God designed it. God really did design the man to have the capacity to be the head of the house and to lead things and to take on that burden and that responsibility and to be the one who's protecting and providing and creating this strong frame for his family to relax into and to find identity in and all these things. And when that isn't there, it hurts. I mean,
Yeah.
like really
And
hurts.
when it is there, right? Like thinking about your husband doing the things that Adam just said, like, isn't that like a turn on? Isn't that like a, you feel like, oh, that would feel so good, right? If
Because
my
it's in your
man was
nature to
doing
want to
that.
relax into that. It is. It's
Yeah,
in your nature to
absolutely.
want to relax into that and to be held almost in
Yes.
the relationship,
Yes.
really, in a sense, and not to feel like everything's on you. Everything is your
Yeah.
responsibility. And I really do feel bad that for years that you were in that. I know you had so many health issues and so many
Yeah.
things just because you were trying to carry such a burden. Um, and I can give myself grace too because I was unhealed and I was
Mhm.
reacting. I can understand my wounds now better and I have some awareness around those things. I can give myself grace, but it is just a sad thing to think that it took us that long to.
Well, we just didn't know. We just didn't know better,
Yeah,
right?
we
And when you
didn't.
know better, then you can do
Which is
better.
one of the reasons why we're doing what we do now, because we want to help people and get to people and help them before it takes years and years and years. We don't want this dynamic to continue.
Yeah, I mean, and that feminine posture, which is what you as a woman, were designed to, this is the way you were designed to be, is this, just it is being, right? Whereas masculine, it's doing, feminine, it's more being, it's receiving, it's nurturing.
He provides the frame and she provides the beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gives the structure and she gives it life, she gives it energy and life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There is something to that.
and it's also feeling. And I want to talk about that for a second because when I was living in my masculine energy so strongly for all these years, I'm a very emotional person. And I remember when I was a kid, my mom was like, "You're so emotional, just like your great aunt Mary," and because I would cry a lot, and it was beautiful. She wasn't saying that was negative at all.
Yeah.
And so I'm a deep feeler. And when we got married, I noticed that I stopped crying. It was probably, I don't know, 10 years into our marriage. And all of a sudden one day it hit me, I don't cry anymore. And that I don't even know if I understood the masculine and feminine dynamic totally then, but that was when I was starting to understand it. And it was so shocking to me what is going on, that I don't feel safe to cry, that I am so protective. I'm so in this stress response, really,
Yeah.
that I don't even feel safe to cry. And the good news is now I do cry. I cry all the time.
It is a good thing.
No, it is. It is actually.
Like,
Crying is a stress relief, so it's good.
It's like you were like protecting, you were stuffing those emotions down. You were like not
Yes.
giving yourself the freedom to express those things because you felt this need to have to be strong all the time.
Yeah, yeah. And so it was kind of cool to see in my healing journey how I was starting to cry more. And I was allowing myself to feel. And that's a part of femininity, right? Is that beautiful feeling. Also, when you're living more in your masculine energy, and I kind of touched on this, it is honestly, you're kind of in this constant stress response. Your adrenals are kicked into high gear. Your hormones are now being pumped out in not a normal, healthy manner. And so one of the other effects, which I noticed as well, is that your body will take a major hit when you're showing up this way, when you're this, feeling this way. And I had adrenal fatigue, deep adrenal fatigue, and it took me years to heal. And actually, I think one of the reasons why it took so long to heal is because at that time we still were living in this unbalanced dynamic of I was still acting in more of my masculine energy while I'm trying to heal my body, but it doesn't work that way. And so that's why that femininity and that softening into that surrendering into it, which we're going to talk about in a second, is so powerful. This is really deeply powerful. It's not just like this nice thing that God says to do, or this idea that just seems nice. It is super duper powerful.
Yeah, and it is that point is a reminder for us as men too. Like one way that we protect and provide for our wife is in this area. Like if you check out of this, you are actually like not protecting and providing for her health. Like she is going to be in an unhealthy place. Her physical health is going to be affected. And so for years I didn't necessarily understand that. I mean, and I even checked out to the point that I thought she wanted it that way. Like I thought she wanted to be in control of everything. And then victim minded, nothing I can do about it. She wants all this. She didn't really want that, and so that's a reminder for us as men that part of our provision and our protection of our wife is to step into this role that God provided for us, to provide this frame for her,
Yeah.
so that she can be healthy, that she can, be authentic to who God designed her to be.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, many wives, we often are shifting from feminine to more this masculine energy because it's a necessity, right? We're feeling unsafe. And so to protect, we make this shift, right? And you might see yourself, yeah, trying to control things because under control is this need to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to feel safe? You can feel safe if you have your hand in everything and it's all going the way that you want it to go, right? And so, but that cost, like we started talking about, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and there's also a cost in your marriage, right? The loss of connection in your marriage, because yeah, you might be like, well, this just feels safer to me to continue to show up in my masculine energy, but you're losing that connection in your marriage, which I'm sure you're experiencing. You're losing your softness, which is a beautiful gift God has given you. And really, that is your true self. That is your true self, is this beautiful, radiant woman who feels deeply and receives and nurtures and adds beauty. And so when we're stepping out of that, we're really missing out on who we really are as women. And I know sometimes sometimes you kind of hear, or you might look at femininity, or get this impression that you're going to lose something if you lean into your femininity more. Like you're going to maybe not be as strong as you think you are, or you're going to lose part of your personality because it might mean being passive and he just let him do all the things. But that's actually not it at all. You are still bringing the fullness of who you are to your relationship. You're just not doing it in a leading, in a controlling, that kind of a way. You're still bringing your beautiful uniqueness, but you're not coming from a place of lack, of feeling unsafe, of being scared. You're in this beautiful surrendered posture, and you're adding value and you're adding your uniqueness to the marriage. And it's appreciated, right? And it's a gift to your husband.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and a man really wants his wife to be to be
It's so
in that.
attractive.
It is.
This is like magnetic attraction,
Yeah,
and we
it
get this
is.
when we're both living in he's in his masculine energy more, and I'm in my feminine energy more. It is magnetic, and we experienced that in our
Yeah,
marriage
it
too.
is.
It was like boom, fireworks, 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 because it feels so good.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it is. It's definitely magnetic.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. So the more that you kind of go into that masculine energy, and we saw this too, the more that I would take over, then the less he would step up.
Yeah.
And so that's just something to keep in mind, because I know that you might be feeling unsafe, and so you do feel like taking over, but the more we do that, the less that he steps up. And we might keep asking him to step up, but if we're stepping into that, right, he doesn't see where that he is supposed to step, where he's
It
supposed to
doesn't
step,
provide
right?
room for him.
Right.
And if this dynamic has been off for a while, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some adjusting. It's going to be a bit tricky at times to navigate it and understand. And so it'll take a lot of awareness of like, okay, oh, yep, I'm stepping into my masculine. Oh, yep, like she's stepping into her masculine. Like you have to be aware of what's going on in the relationship so that you can adjust things and be conscious about the choices that you're making and how you're showing up with each other.
Yeah. I mean, and for a man, it's like noticing, hey, I'm being
Yeah,
passive
yeah.
right now. I'm actually stepping out of my role. Seeing your wife as like, she's hurting. I'm going to step in and I'm going to protect her, instead of like, wow, she's taking over everything, like being offended by that, or being
Yeah,
like,
you can feel that. You can
right.
feel that energy a little different. Like when you're going into a victim energy or you're going into a checking out state, like you can feel that energy. Like it doesn't feel strong. You feel unsettled. You feel weak. You feel like you're not enough again. Like when you're in your marriage, feeling like you're not enough. Just be aware of that and choose a different way of showing up, choose a different response, choose a different thought too, inside of yourself, because um, everything that you have to lead the marriage is inside of you. Mm-hmm. Everything that you have as a man is in there. Mm-hmm. It might be covered over with a lot of other issues and thought patterns and things like that, but it is there, and you can tap into it again, and you can step into leadership again. And it may take some time and some work, but it's definitely possible to do.
Yeah, and I think it helps to have this, in your mind is just this awareness of like she's hurting and that's why she is acting this way. He's hurting and that's why. And so to have this awareness of like there are wounds that need to be healed can allow us to come with compassion instead of this anger, this frustration, the resentment, right? To let that kind of take over, which I understand is so easy to do. But when you remember, I have wounds to heal, so does he. That just helps us to show up in a very different way.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you're just blaming each other and constantly like that will actually increase the same issue.
Yeah.
It will actually make things worse if you're blaming and resenting and like fighting against the other person. The person's not the problem. The problem is this dynamic that you get to work on. It's an issue that you can actually like be aware of and start to solve.
And really, I like to look at it as more of an opportunity rather than a problem. The opportunity. Okay. It's okay, honey. But like I see what you're saying. But what I'm seeing is like there's an opportunity for so much healing. There's an opportunity for so much growth. And so I like to look at it as an opportunity. And you get to take that opportunity, right? You can't make him take the opportunity, right? You can't make him like, well, he needs to do this then. And if I'm going to do it, he needs to do it. Yeah. Actually, it is an opportunity for you. Yeah, he can find his own opportunity, right? But we can only control ourselves. And so it's an opportunity for us. And if you're a man listening, it's an opportunity for you as well. And it's a beautiful opportunity for just so inviting in so much of God's goodness for your marriage because he has so much more for you to experience. And really, honestly, for men, if you're a man and you might be feeling too like you are the one holding your marriage together, we see you.
Oh yeah.
We see you. We do hear from men who feel like their wife, she is so hurt. Maybe she's been leading in her masculine for so long from this wounded place that now she's completely shut down.
And he's the one actually trying. Oh my goodness, I got to put in effort, but she's already like running out the door.
Right, you're kind of like at this breaking point. We do see you too. Still the same stuff we're talking about applies to you as well.
Take the opportunity to step in. Take the opportunity to learn these things and to
start healing.
To take steps in actually showing her that you are that strong place and that you are capable of leading this and she may not always receive it right away. It may take some time.
Yeah, because she's probably not believing it. If you've shown her over and over again how unsafe you are, it's hard to earn that trust back. It's hard to really prove that you are a safe place. But don't give up. And for wives as well, we take ownership in that. And so how do we shift to that femininity, right? How do we relax into that? It's not about letting things fall apart. Like, okay, well, I'm just gonna not do anything anymore, and then we'll just watch everything explode. I mean, I remember having that thought, like, if I don't do this, if I don't do all the things I'm doing, our house is gonna run into the ground. Like, the kids are gonna, everything's gonna fall apart, right? And it's not about that. It's not about just letting things fall apart. It's about your own healing, right? It's about starting that healing process. You've stopped trusting. You're trying to protect yourself. That maybe means like you've stopped trusting your husband, but maybe you've even stopped trusting God for safety from God, because really this is about you and God. That's where it starts. It's you and your husband, that's a kind of a secondary relationship to you and God. And that's really where the healing starts, is between you and God.
Yeah, and that's really true for the husband too. Like, you can't really lead very well or if you're not being led by Christ.
Yeah.
If you're not really deepening and nurturing that relationship that you have with Christ, and making that really strong, you're not going to lead your marriage. You're going to fall into some of this stuff.
So again, the solution isn't like, okay, just let him lead. I'll just let him lead and then we'll see what happens. Because that probably feels, first of all, terrifying to you, because you don't feel safe, but also it's not the best way. It's really this beautiful healing journey that you get to begin, and asking yourself the question, how do I begin to feel safe enough to soften? And again, it starts with God, you and God. And so you start by realizing, how good God is, how much he loves you, how safe he is for you. You can cry out to him. All the things you want to say to your husband, right? You can cry those out to God. And when you want to criticize, you can talk to God about it, right? And when you're feeling these strong emotions, resentment, feel them. Definitely allow yourself to feel them in a safe place. We're doing this trauma informed coaching certification right now, and you literally cannot heal if you are feeling unsafe. So take yourself to a safe place when you're working on this healing with God. I like to go out in nature. That's like a healing place for me. I feel so good out there. And I talk to God about all these things, right? Sometimes I go in my closet. That feels very safe for me to like have the door shut so that I don't know why. It may go back to like my childhood, but I feel very safe when I am very alone. And I know no one's going to be able to come in. And so whatever that safe place is for you, go to that safe place and start to process these emotions, and remind yourself, how safe you are with God, and ask him how he's your safe place. Ask him how he's protecting you, how he's providing for you, how he's caring for you, so that you can be, so that you can receive that love, so that you can, feel your emotions fully. And, surrender is such a big part of this as well. I feel like we need to do a whole podcast on surrender.
Oh yeah.
Because it is so transformational. I'm seeing it even in my own life right now, because surrender is one of my biggest things that I'm working on personally. And I am seeing God use it to do incredible healing that I did not know how to do. So don't discredit what some of these things can do for you.
Yeah.
If you're struggling with this, well, first of all, I have something very exciting for you, because I'm doing a 5-day challenge for wives. It's called Reclaim Your Femininity. It's only $10 if you're not already in my restored community. If you are, it's free. But if you're not, it's only $10. You get to go inside Restored for a week. You get to enjoy the whole challenge. You get to have live coaching. You get worksheets, daily action plans. You get the support of this beautiful community of wives who are feeling a lot like you are. And you get to understand that, you weren't created to carry what only God can restore, and what he can make happen. You weren't created to carry that, and I'm going to help you to start that healing process. We're going deep. We're not staying on the surface level where change doesn't really happen. We're going deep for the change to really happen and be so transformative. So I'm so excited. You don't have to carry this anymore. You can enjoy being the beautiful feminine woman that you were created to be.
For guys, I'm putting together this men's group where we can start to really practice some of these things and go deep with our healing, and heal the wounds and things that are making us show up in an unhealthy way in our marriage, and to be this frame, to be this strong place, and lead our families, as Christ leads, and deepen that relationship with him too, because that's going to be part of that too.
Yeah, start that healing process for men.
So stay tuned. It's still coming. It's still in the works. And you can actually sign up to be on a list to find out more information about it too.
The link for both the Reclaim Your Femininity Challenge and to get updates on the men's group are both in the show notes. And we would love to hear back from you on this episode. Was this helpful? Did it resonate with you? Share it if it did. Help another couple who is struggling. Help another wife who feels this, or husband.
Yeah.
And tag us. We love to know when you're sharing stuff. And if you have any questions, please reach out, because we love to interact and we love to offer our support.